welcome. We have WK Rader with us, also known as Bill. Welcome. He's going to be at our Spring Book Bash in Greer, South Carolina on April 25th at the Randall House. So, welcome and share with us the books that you're bringing.
Sure. Well, I'm the main book I'm forwarding today because of I just finished it and it just got published just what less than 2 months ago.
Ooh.
By the way, it's doing quite well on both sells and reads on Kindle Unlimited. But it's uh, the Gathering. The Gathering is a story that came. There's a lot of myself in it. It kind of manifests itself to me last year in January timeframe. Uh, my real life, I run a biotech company, and highly stressful. And you need to, blow off some steam. And I was just sitting down in my chair in the evenings, and I had my iPad where I normally am doing business, and I just started writing. This thing came into my mind. I just started writing, and I sent the first chapter off to my brother, saying, "Hey, this is kind of fun. I'm enjoying writing this. It's just this movie that's coming to me in my brain." And he said, "Well, what happens next?" I said, "I don't know. We'll see." And I kept writing, and that's in the next chapter. And then the next chapter, do you have the next one? I said, I don't know what happens next. Let's see what happens next. Each evening I was writing, and about 2 months I'm into this. My wife looks at me. She goes, "What are you doing over there?" I said, "Well, I've been something you don't want to hear about, but I've been writing another book." And, okay, great. Because you haven't talked to me in 2 months. I said, "Well, you just laugh and just enjoy what you're doing." I said, "Well, it's fun." And so I started writing, and my brother said, "Well, when's it going to end?" I said, "When it ends." I said, "There's no plan behind this. This is just a story." And I kept writing, and I kept sending, and I kept writing. I kept sending. Then it got very large, and by the time I was done, I was about 90,000 words, which not bad. I was concentrating on words. I was concentrating on a good story, and so I want to take it, and I got the designer for the book cover, Christian Storm, did the interior as well, and it's absolutely gorgeous. He's done books for some of the biggest authors, okay, in fiction, and I hired him to do it off of Reezy, and, and he took care of all that, and we went back and forth. He probably hated me because I was really going back and forth a lot with him and saying, "Hey, tweak this, do that." But he did a good job. He read a little bit of the story and he understood it a bit, and it ended up being a story that was. I do in biotechnology. I do implantable biosensors. Okay, and one of the patents we have is a neural implant. And what I ended up doing, and I don't know why, but somehow I guess you write what you know, right?
Yep.
Wrote about a neural implant being used to basically help society, starting with helping people that have a hard time moving and stuff. I'm also a MS patient. I was 100% paralyzed on the right side of my body for a time, so I understand paralysis. Okay, but the bottom line is, I took what I knew, and it just flowed through a society where a war was brokered, peace was brokered by AI itself. Then over, and through the neural implants, totally voluntary, you can get this neural implant, and it would make you smarter. And then you don't need schools, you don't need to read anything. And so it took over society, and a group of people that said, "No, no, I'm not going to do this." And their struggle to get through a life and then eventually beat. Hopefully, we're not going to tell you the truth or what actually happened. AI in its own game, and the heroine of the story is a woman named Mara, and I know now after I wrote the book who she was. Okay, because people say, "Who'd you base this on?" I haven't based on anybody, just put in my mind. And they said, "Well, you can write another book." I said, "No, one and done. We're good." Well, no, that doesn't work that way. I got the book, and it wasn't weeks, and I just started writing again, and I was writing what ending up to be the prequel to this that really goes in the backstory of Mara, also the tech genius billionaire that created the AI, um, and gives a little bit more depth because she's very much a mystery in this book. So it's almost like a prequel that you don't want to read until after you read the Gathering.
Okay.
You don't want to. It gives you enough information about her to you understand her, where she came from,
Mhm.
and it all really there was a lot to do with my own life. And I figured out who it was, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, okay, I better tell her." And and so yeah, it ended up being just an incredibly fun read. People read it fast for a
Okay.
340 or so page book. People
Mhm.
always told me, they said, I just keep on going and going and going. And I noticed that on Kindle Reads, as Kindle Unlimited as well. 5, 6 people will check it out, and all the pages will be read in like 3 days. And I'm like, whoa, how'd that happen? And, yeah, it took me a lot longer to write, but everybody's told me it's a really fast read and a fun read. And then they said, well, what's next? And I'm like, well, wait, and you'll see. It's still manifesting in my brain, and I've been putting it down on paper, and so it should be a really fun ride for anybody that's interested in anything like this. People said it. Some people said that's too scary. It's too close to home, but it's really it's not a horror fiction or anything like that. It's
Mm.
reality coupled
Mhm.
with potential and possibilities, right?
Mhm.
And um, you'll see things in there that probably you'll relate to immediately. Um, and there's a lot of dialogue in the book because it was a story that was manifested. People are arguing and talking and everything else.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like I'm schizophrenic here. Um, but it was certainly, I enjoyed writing it so much. I
Mhm.
will read it and enjoy it just a sliver as much as I did writing it. So they do. They're in for a treat,
That is awesome. So you've got The Gathering that is out.
right?
You've got the prequel that's coming. Is that gonna make it to the table by April, or is that
No, no, that won't be
okay?
out until, well, how do I know? I'm still writing this book, and
Yeah.
a big sad part of this is right after The Gathering came out, my older brother suddenly died
Oh.
unexpectedly. And I was sent him the first couple chapters of the prequel,
Mhm.
or what I call waterfalls, or excuse me, waterflies. I should know the book. And that came to me another different way. That you'll understand waterflies later on, but
Mhm.
where that name even came from but it's there and it makes sense. Um, the It stopped me from writing for like 2 months, and then
Oh,
a
okay.
few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I just started writing again, and I wrote another 3 chapters, and
Mhm.
and then I started other things started coming to me, but there was a couple months that you know unexpected loss. You kind of
Yeah.
stand there and what the heck happened, and it's really horrible that that happened. Um, I wish he was around to guide me on this one and tell me it's either sucks or is good. Um, but the bottom line is, I think based on this, it's a little darker in the beginning because of
Mhm.
how this story all starts, and
Mhm.
it's very personal to me because although it's fiction, I pull in from reality from 30 plus years ago in my life. Okay,
Okay.
and that's present in the at least the beginning of the story, but it kind of goes like, you know, goes there quick, but it explains a lot of things I didn't even know it would. When I was writing the first book, I don't know. So, and so we'll see. Maybe it's two and done. Maybe it's three. Right now, I've got a third one also that already started. That would be
Ooh.
a follow-on book that happens after the fact. And
Ah.
so I think overall it's going to be a series of 3 books. But
Mhm.
3 now, then maybe, and maybe it goes longer. But I don't rush through. I write as I don't do the standard author. I'm going to do 1,000 words a day. No. I
Right.
write when I write. I've done sprints on weekends where I'm just writing and I'm doing 15, 20,000
Mhm.
words.
Yeah.
And I have to put it down.
Yep.
Um, and then I may sit there for a week and 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, okay, oh, I got it. Poof, next comes out, right? And so that's different than when I wrote my first book, which was The Vin Effect, which is more a biographical business book, biographical. I talk about my life
Mhm.
because it's different. I did a lot of speeches early on that led me to write a book because people kept asking me, "Do you have a book?" Um,
Mhm.
and it's about me as an entrepreneur. I sold my first company when I was a teenager,
Mm.
leaving high school, and before that, before I sold that company, I'd already reached the pinnacle of the career I was hoping to be in. Okay, I was hoping to be a marine biologist. I was already doing marine biology, and I'd worked with Jean-Michel and Jacques Cousteau. And
Oh,
there you are as a
nice.
teenager doing all this stuff. You don't even think twice about how impactful and big it is. And then I realized I'd already reached the pinnacle of my field. I need to shift a different direction.
Mhm.
And it does walk through my life and some of the things I did, but also the business failures and the full Monty on the business failures, the
Mm.
business successes, and some of the things I did, and then my struggles and the horrible past that happen during business when you have partners and things of that nature, and
Mm.
you have an illness like MS. Okay.
Mhm.
I also include stories I wrote for Forbes because I was a writer for Forbes magazine and
Mm.
for Inc magazine and a couple others. I started writing for magazines in the 90s, and so I include some of the stories in there because they're germane to the subject matter. But that's where that book came. That was my first book, and that's why my wife did the big, oh my god, another book, because that one didn't go like this book. This fiction books are
Mhm.
the story, that story I knew. Okay. uh,
Yeah.
but the fiction was never something I never thought I'd write. I never had planned to. Now I enjoy the heck out of it, and I see myself when I leave what I'm doing. That's I'll probably do with just writing because it's
Yeah.
fun. You get to meet a lot of people and talk to them,
Mhm.
and especially I like the live events so much. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to the event coming up. I've got another one coming up uh, beginning of February in
Mm.
Myrtle Beach. Then I'm in Columbia
Mm.
March at um, Read Freely event there in Columbia. It's a big festival,
Mm.
and I just want to meet the people
Yeah.
and talk to them and answer questions. And I'm doing one interesting thing that people tend to be amazed by. I bring the antagonist along with me from the story. And you say, well, how do you do this? It's a fiction AI, okay? AI
Ah.
antagonist, and it's going to solve the world and helps you out. And so I had a friend that created the front end for that, the actual physical being, uh,
Mhm.
very familiar to people. Um, and I actually debated that AI live on stage at my book launch. So I was on a stage, I
Nice.
had the AI on a huge screen, and you don't know what it's going to say. Yeah, and I
That can be scary.
turned it, oh, it's amazing. And then you argue with the AI, and it's quite a good debater. I knew
Mm.
I could not win. I mean, the entire world at my fingertips, right? And
Mhm.
but it was so much fun. People enjoyed the heck out of it. And so what I said, like, why don't I just let it talk on an iPad? So if you want to have questions about my story, don't ask me, ask it. They call you a meat bag,
Mhm.
and you're just an analog person. You don't, you really,
Mhm.
but it it's quite amazing. It will tell you about this. So if you have specific questions, it'll answer the questions. I never know what it's going to say because there's nothing
Mhm.
there that I just fed the book in. Okay,
Right.
here's the book, and have fun. And to us analogs, okay, uh,
Mhm.
um, um, ultimately, it makes for a very interesting conversation for people, and I hope it encourages them to look at the book because one, like I said, I enjoyed writing it so much. I think that anybody would enjoy reading it, uh,
Mhm.
and it's not that you have to read dystopian futures or fiction on this or that. It's very youth friendly. I say 12 and up, 14 and up, someone that can really
Yeah.
understand that is it's not real.
Yeah.
Um, I don't in I write what I would feel like my grandmother could read, and I could sit in front of her and she'd be happy, right? Not
Mhm.
it's just the way I am. That's how I live my life. But so it's appropriate. There are some technical things in there that's not technical for an average person, but maybe for a 12-year-old looking at and start coming up with things in their mind. Who knows? In generally speaking, it's very friendly and very down to earth. Even though that's what I do. Um,
Mhm.
I didn't write it like that. I wrote it a very relatable way so anybody could look at it and understand, and they don't have to pick out a book and start looking things up because it's just people talking. You know.
Yeah. So with your writing, you definitely fall into the pantser category. Have you written do you go back and do an outline or no?
I tried to. I said
Yeah.
I could outline this. I
Yeah.
did outline the Vin effect, no
Well,
question.
yeah.
But this, the best way I can explain this is, and a lot of people said this should be a movie or this should be a series on
Mhm.
is it's a movie in my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just transposing wherever this came from
Mhm.
in the written word, and that's why it goes like it goes. Now, I will say, when I'm driving, sometimes if I'm driving in the car and I'm driving into the office or something, I'll click the recorder on, and I'll just
Mhm.
start talking. And on the phone, I'll just start talking, saying, "Oh, I know that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this occurs," and just to capture it. Because if you think
Mhm.
about it, a lot of times people when they relax, they'll all of a sudden everything comes to them, and so
Yep.
and they say, "I'm going to put something next to my bed to write on." I full disclosure, I can't write physically. I
Mm.
lost the ability to write. I can sign my name, sort of.
Mhm.
And so I signed it. So I do something very unusual in my book signs. I have a custom stamp I've
Oh,
created,
yeah.
and then I sign on the stamp. And when people say, specific, I try to put their name on it or something like that, but it may be very. I can't read my own writing, so and I know a lot of people say, "Well, I can't read my writing," but more than
Yeah.
this is really bad. Okay, um, I take notes in meetings, and I look at it. I say, "I don't know why I even try." So I generally will record, on my
Mm.
phone when I'm talking to you. So that gives me the ability to go back and listen and say, "Okay, that's what occurred," rather than
Yeah.
taking physical notes because it just doesn't work for me. Haven't been able to write for 14 years.
I know I have, in my background, I used to do be an admin, and I would try to take people's notes, and I much preferred the dictation
Yeah, very similar.
than
Yeah.
trying to transcribe what somebody hand wrote. It's like, "Oh, give me the audio version, please."
That's what I do. And similar reason, I can't transpose my own writing, so I feel your pain. Okay.
This is gonna be fun. We have a very, uh, big variety of authors lined up. We're at 8 or 9, different states represented.
Wow.
So we've got quite the variety. We have a variety of, genres that are represented, and to me, that is gonna be so interesting. I love doing these interviews. I love meeting like you said, meeting the people.
Oh yeah.
And for me, meeting the authors ahead of time so that I know who they are, I may not always remember names, but I always remember faces. It's like,
Yeah, I'm not a
"Oh,
big person.
yes,
Forget it.
I know that." Well, I go and I put my name on my shirt, so it makes it easier. And there's only one of me for everyone to remember, but yeah, we'll have about 30ish authors that will be there, about 8 or 9. states that are going to be represented. So, yeah, nice cross section. And I can't wait to meet you in person. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, I think so. I mean, I look forward to all the events, and like I said, the meeting the people, getting the questions, having the people. Um, they always say, "Where'd you come up with this?" How that come? And it's just, some people just cannot believe that. It's just a movie in my brain, and it's probably a movie in your brain once you read it. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy um, uh, meeting other authors as well, because there is such the variety is the few I've gone to so far. The variety has been incredible.
Hmm.
So it's been been really worthwhile.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come on here and share about your books. And I look forward to seeing you at the end of April.
Excellent. I can't wait to see you and everybody else. So hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer than it is today.
I hope so. Thanks, Bill.
Yep. Take care.